Hello again, everyone. I'm back with an unboxing video of an open box item I actually purchased from Best Buy. It's the iPad 11th generation A16 chip in the color yellow. I also wanted to, usually I've been doing these on shorts, but I also wanted to talk about the trade-in experience because I traded in a ninth gen iPad for it, as well as the open box, discount, right? So one of the pieces of advice I'll give you if you're shopping at Best Buy, of course, I'm talking about the U.S. Can't speak for other places around the world, but here you can find obviously open box items. And normally with Best Buy, if you actually wait until there's a sale on the item, you can even get a deeper discount on not just the item, but then the open box item prices will often fall as well accordingly. However, with the lower end items, I noticed that like the base model iPad, the mini, those discounts aren't quite as steep as something like, say, the iPad Pro or a Samsung Galaxy Tab S10 Ultra or something of that nature. So I guess there's not as much meat on the bone, so to speak, to discount them much further. The other thing you want to look out for is that the different colors will have different discounts, right? So the more popular colors sometimes don't get discounted as much unless there are more of them. If it's a super popular color like space gray, there may be simply just more supply, so therefore that might drive the open box prices down a little bit. The or sometimes it's just an oddball color. Generally, pink doesn't gets a heavier discount. Oftentimes, I remember purple with the iPad Mini getting a deeper discount at times. So it just depends on like the bet which color it is and the algorithm and how all that works. So as you're looking, if you don't care about the color and you're looking for a discount with an open box item, definitely click on each color and then see what open box item color is cheaper for open box. The other thing is that good and excellent is kind of relative to the Best Buy. I think that the individual store, I've bought things in good condition, and I always ask to inspect the item before I finalize the purchase. And if they should allow you to do so, right? That shouldn't be an issue. If you buy a cellular model, there is this caveat that you'll have to pay a $50 restocking fee. But with open box items, I've never had an issue with paying a restocking fee. However, they did try to charge me. I think one time I returned a phone, or actually I didn't even return it. I saw that it was scratched when I did the inspection, but they had already processed it. They had picked it up, and I had to like talk to the manager and say, hey, I'm not even leaving the store until you resolve this because this thing is not in excellent condition. So it's kind of hit and miss, right? But generally speaking, excellent condition is pretty solid, and good condition sometimes is looks excellent. Like there are no issues with it. So that could even render you an even better discount, right? So it really depends, but definitely look at the color and definitely inspect it if before you take it out of the store, because an open box item, they can always say, well, maybe you did this damage, right? So that's something to also consider. So just some things to think about. Also, if you do the trade in, if you have something to trade in, that is generally a pretty good experience there because you trade it on the spot, so you don't have to wait. Like if you send something into Samsung or send something into Google, you can do it there on the spot, and they'll give you the discount on the spot, right? So at the store. So that for me is preferable. I did trade in an iPad ninth generation with cellular. I got $130 credit for it, which I think is lower than I could have sold it for. But to be honest, I wasn't really comfortable selling that to another individual because the battery was pretty degraded. I felt like the performance had been a little laggy. My son had been playing video games and it just wasn't quite, I don't know, it's starting to be a little bit laggy. Maybe it's not an issue for some folks, but I just felt like the charge wasn't keeping as long. Sometimes it would not charge as well as or as quickly as it was before. So I just didn't really feel comfortable selling it to another individual. But as long as the screen is in good condition, Best Buy is pretty good about giving you max credit for trade-in. Sometimes you will get somebody that's a little pickier, and if that's the case, then simply don't. You can go to a different Best Buy or go to a different person. So it just depends. I've only had one situation where someone was hyper picky, but I keep everything in great condition. So even that person gave me max credit. I'll be honest, I wasn't quite expecting to get max credit on the iPad 9th gen just because it did have a few little dings on the body and what have you. But the screen, I had a screen protector on the whole time and it was very clean. So that went smoothly, right? So that wasn't a big issue. So anyhow, this wouldn't have been my first pick in terms of the color, yellow. It kind of looked like a Big Bird yellow online, but it's a much different looking yellow than I anticipated. But overall, it was a really smooth experience. I got a significant discount on the iPad itself. So these are with cellular $499. So you pay $150 premium for the cellular version. This is the way I communicate with my son when he's not with me. So this was important to get the cellular version. And also when you go on road trips and things of that nature, sometimes kids get bored. So, you want to have them entertained, right? And so having a cellular connection was pretty important. So here I paid, again, instead of $499, I paid $423. And then there was with tax there, which is, a little bit heavier in California. And then there's a recycling device fee here in California as well. So you got to pay that. And then the trade-in was $130. So I probably could have gotten I would have maybe gotten 160, 170, maybe 200. I see them go on SwapUp for 200 in the condition that my iPad 9th gen was in. But by the time you pay fees, by the time you pay shipping, you're pretty much back down to 150, 160 anyway. And again, I didn't feel comfortable giving it to another person. So I just went ahead and traded it in and they gave me what they considered full credit. Now, the credit may vary. Sometimes they give you better credit when you go like iPad to iPad versus like if I had traded in for a cell phone, the credit might have been a little less or what have you. It kind of depends. Sometimes they have these sales where they will give you more credit for the device that you're actually turning in as an upgrade for that particular device, if that makes sense. So anyhow, let's get to the unboxing part and move from there, okay? And I know this is taking a little long already, so let's get to it. So you'll have Best Buy stickers all around it. It should say inspected by Best Buy. I took those off just to kind of make it a little cleaner. This was turned in only about a week ago. So whoever had it, I don't know how long they had it, but they returned it just a week ago. So here it is in canary or in yellow. Now, again, online, it looked like more of a Big Bird yellow. Again, this wouldn't have been my first choice for sure, but this looks like, I'm going to be honest, in person it looks more like somebody had a little bit too much Dijon mustard on their hot dog and they went to the carnival and rode one of those twisty rides and let it all out later. It looks a little bit like Dijon vomit yellow, to be really honest with you, versus the Big Bird yellow that looked like it was online. So I wasn't disappointed in I was a little bit, I'm not going to say I was disappointed so much. I just was a little surprised. It's kind of almost got like a darker undertone to it as well. So again, it wouldn't have been my first choice, but at, a significant discount minus a trade-in to get him into this generation and, what have you, it was actually not bad. So this is, again, it's 11 inches or 10.9. I'm not exactly sure what their advertising is now. 10.9 or 11, but it's nice. Everything was clean, right? As you can see, it looks brand new. When I pulled it out of the box in the store, it was clean. There was no issues with it at all. The screen itself is also clean. Now it has some fingerprints on it because I just put my fingerprints on it, but it was, they had a little, you can wipe it down and no scratches or anything like that. So this is what excellent condition looks like. And, it should be it should be accordingly. Like it shouldn't, if you see any scratches or anything, you can always like talk to them about the condition if you're okay with that. And if they'll see it too, and they'll kind of even sometimes negotiate, you can negotiate with the manager or what have you. So overall, it was a pretty good experience. Again, I got this relatively cheap. What else comes in the box? Your standard fare. It's not going to be brand new. So this person obviously took the cable out, used the cable, and then you have the charger, right? So that also came in the box. The excellent condition items are supposed to be in the box, and they're supposed to have all of the paperwork and what have you, right? And everything should be as such, right? Now, if it's not in excellent condition, sometimes if it's something that you're missing, like for example, the charger, right? they will put it as good condition, but everything else, the main device might be in excellent condition. So I bought a MacBook Air one time that did not have the charger, and it was marked down to good condition because it was missing a part, quote unquote. So I got that as a significant discount. It was a MacBook Air 15 that I actually still have, and so that was pretty good discount, right? And then when they were going for quite a bit. So overall, I would say that it was a good trade-in experience. Make sure that you inspect the item before you leave the store. And in terms of the unboxing of the iPad itself, you know, like I said, this wouldn't have been my first choice, but if you check the different colors, then, you know, you can get a bigger discount. And if you're okay with, I'm going to put a case on this anyway, so you don't even see the color necessarily. If you're okay with that, then I would definitely go ahead and pick up a color that maybe is non-traditional or that you don't really like, in exchange for the bigger discount. Okay. Now, again, normally I would wait till they're on sale before I put and double down on the open boxness of it. But for this item or the lower end items, you're not going to necessarily see a big drop. So it would be relatively minuscule. And sometimes you don't see a drop at all. Like it will still be, it might be on sale for, say, instead of $4.99, $4.50, and you're still going to have to pay like $4.20, right, for an open box item. And at $30 more, you might as well get the new one. But at $65, $70 less, then I would definitely recommend the open box. Okay. Well, this is all. That's all for now. The iPad 11, I'll go ahead and put it through its paces, do a review, do a comparison between this and the Mini and this and the Pro as well. And we'll go from there. All right. I hope you're well. I hope your family's well, and take care of yourself.